So, guys, we have Ria with us, and she's going to tell us many things about what HR thinks. So, this call is going to be really great, and I hope you guys watch it till end. So, let's start. Hi, Ria.
Hi, Swapna. Thank you for having me here.
I'm so glad that I'm seeing you again, and it's been long time that we haven't spoken face to face. We have been calling each other and texting each other, but now I'm really glad to see you face to face. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's almost been around Spain, so I'm really liking it. So of course, I'm more than happy to share my journey with everyone, and I'm really excited for this session with you.
Yeah, I'm same here. I'm excited too. So, Ria, we have been knowing each other from many years, and our friendship started in the UK itself. So we have lived in UK for many years. Then you went to India back, and then you were working there, and you were quite involved in your job, and now you are in Spain. How did it happen?
All right, so I'll just talk about my experience. So basically, I'm a postgraduate diploma in human resource management with 7+ years of experience in recruitment, HR, and sales. I've worked in India, UK, and currently, as I mentioned, I'm working in Spain. My hiring expertise comes from working in a recruitment agency, IT service, and product company. I'm currently working as a technical recruiter in a product company, and I'm hiring software engineers at different levels from all over the world and growing our engineering hub in Barcelona and Madrid. How did this happen? Of course, I'll explain it to you as and when we go in this session. So yes, so I'll explain it to you in a short while.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward for it. So, so Ria, how you were doing in India when you were working there?
So in India, I was working as a recruitment lead where I had 2 people reporting to me. And then all throughout my career, I've mostly focused in recruitment. I specialize in recruitment, and it is mainly around IT. It's mainly around software developers at different levels, basically.
And after that, you were able to get this opportunity from India itself. And how did you find it?
So basically, so as you know, Swapna, non-technical role, it takes a while, right? I mean, you do not get that very easily a job. So you need to apply at least, you need to make at least 300 to 400 application, and then only you would be getting a call.
Right.
So for me, it was, I knew that my partner has decided to move to Spain. So I decided that I'll start looking for an opportunity in Spain while I'm, in India, just so that I can reduce, so that I don't have a gap in my CV.
Right.
So I started applying to recruitment roles, to technical recruiters, IT recruiter jobs in Spain. So from India, I made my applications through LinkedIn. So there are a couple of options, like you can use other portals as well, but I mainly focused on applying to the roles which are advertised on LinkedIn. So basically, when I applied, I had received 2 calls, like two interview calls from 2 companies in Spain, which were product company. And I went through the process, and one of which I've joined. The interview process was quite intense because I will be evaluated by a recruiter, like I was evaluated by a recruiter. Then the second stage was sourcing, like they would evaluate me on my sourcing skills. So I literally had to share my screen with one of the recruiters and show them how I source candidates. Then the third stage was with another recruiter who would evaluate me on my stakeholder management experience. Then the fourth round was basically a business case presentation. So they would give me a case study, like it was given to me 2 to 3 days before, and then I was asked to make a presentation. So basically how I interpret data, and then just present just interpreting the data and present a case study on that, basically. So that was the whole process.
That's great. I was thinking just technical interviews goes and technical process goes so intense. I never thought about the HR process, interview process. It's so intense too. It's really great to hear, and I'm really glad that you made it. And now you are in Spain. Ria, I know that you have been working in HR field from long time, and you also started this Spain opportunity from the India itself. So when you were moving from India to Spain, so did you also have to take a visa, or how was the process, and what was the preparation that you did as coming to Spain from your side?
Yeah. So for a non-technical role, I just want to clarify that mostly non-technical roles, they do not get sponsorship unless you have worked in a company for a very long time. Then it's a different story. But in my case, I had the partner's visa, so I was on a dependent visa basically. So my partner secured the job first, and then after that I started looking for a role. So for me, what we did is basically, first of all, we checked before coming to Spain whether a dependent visa is eligible to work or not, because that's very important to check with the recruiter
Right.
whether a dependent visa allows you to work or not in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So then we came to know that yes, it is definitely allowed. So I started applying for different roles back from India. And then I was lucky to kind of get a job in my current role. Of course, for non-technical roles, it's very difficult, as I mentioned before. Now, the preparation, in terms of preparation, I didn't have to do much because I already had experience working within UK and Europe hiring. So I didn't have to do anything different to get this job, because I did manage to kind of crack the interview process, as I mentioned to you in my previous question. But other than that, for those who do not have any experience within the UK and Europe hiring process, maybe they do not have the relevant experience, I would just say to kind of understand what the market is like. If you're applying to a new foreign country, you should know what sort of market it is, and try and update or get the relevant qualification, maybe update your CV in terms of the role that you're applying by going through the job description, because your CVs will be filtered based on the job description. So it's important that your experience has the relevant, you have the relevant experience, but then again, you can always update your CV as per the job description, and then you can apply to those roles. If you're not entirely sure, it's better that you pursue a qualification or for that particular job. And it's pretty challenging, Swapna, for a non-technical role to be able to, because there are a lot of competition within the local market itself. So it's not very easy to get a job. But then, of course, if you've got years and years of experience, so it's important that you understand that you don't have relevant experience for that particular market. So you can obviously upskill yourself by knowing the market more. So that would be my takeaway, if that makes sense.
This is really great information, Ria, because I know I have many friends who are waiting and keep looking for the jobs and trying for the jobs, and the market is really tough, and I know how much we want to work, and we also, we don't want to break our continuity, and just because we are dependent or we are moving from India to any other country, we also want to continue our job profile smooth. So this information is really great, and I've got like trillion questions for you, because we don't usually get HR for discussion. So I've got many questions for you. First of all, how people should prepare themselves for first non-technical background, and then later you can answer for the technical background as well. Probably you would be the best person to tell us some points to prepare, because people know very much about technical stuff. They can prepare themselves, they can upskill themselves, but sometimes people get rejected from the HR round also. These are the situations we have seen. So just give us some overview, like how to overcome such situation and how to prepare ourselves with those kind of interviews.
So for non-technical round, I would just say that when you apply to a certain role, try and keep your CV as specific as it could be to the role. Now, there would be some job description which would be very generic, and you would be tempted to apply for that role, basically. But the key here is to understand what the role is all about. Maybe approach the recruiter on LinkedIn itself to understand the role a bit more, and to obviously you can have that conversation with the recruiter later on, what relevant experience you have. For non-technical role, yes, it's pretty challenging to even get to the interview stage, because there, as I mentioned before, there are around, maybe in a week, we would get around 50 applications. So it is very difficult based on the CV to get a call. So you probably have to have a cover letter. Along with that, you need to kind of specify what is your area of expertise.
Right.
And for a technical role, of course, it's slightly easy, because what most of the recruiters do, we search on keywords. So say, for example, you are a Java developer, and if you've worked as, in that language, and also if you've come from a similar set of environment, like agile methodology, or so then it gets easier for a recruiter to kind of get those candidates, and it's easier for us to go through the application. So for a technical role, I would say that your skills should be there on the CV. Also keep your LinkedIn profile updated, so that even the sources can search you on LinkedIn and they know what exactly you have done in terms of technical skills. So it's very important, Swapna, that one should update their LinkedIn profile in today's day and age, because most of the recruiters are finding talent through LinkedIn. So it's not only CV and cover letter, but it's also important to update your LinkedIn profile. So that way we will get to find the right talent. So these are basic preparation that one should do to get calls from the recruiters, if that makes sense. And after which, when you get to the interview stage with the recruiter, now for non-technical role, you need to be concise with your experience. You need to be relevant, as I mentioned before. This non-technical, for technical ones, again, we as a technical recruiter, we also ask technical questions. Just once we have had the conversation, whether the person understands the role, post that we ask technical questions to gather their knowledge in terms of basic technologies relevant to the job description, of course. So those are some of the things that you would also need to prepare. Like these days, product companies, they tend to ask questions on data structure and algorithms, and computer science fundamentals, and also domain. So these are asked by recruiters itself, like technical recruiters. So it's important that you have some basic preparation done to be able to qualify the HR round. And once you've done that, then we can push you to the next round, if that makes sense. That's the whole process.
That's really great. And how much having cover letter and resume is important? Is that necessary to have both of the documents?
To be very honest, we tend to look at the cover letter and CV, but in today's day and world, today's age, we would need the LinkedIn profile to be updated the most, to be honest. So you can invest some time in building up your resume and cover letter. So that is a good practice. But it's also important that you have mentioned on your LinkedIn profile, because that's a must in today's day and age. So I would suggest, if you're investing that much time, it's also easier for you to kind of update your LinkedIn profile, because that's the first place that the recruiter would be able to find you. So that's the only thing that I can think of at the moment.
So whoever looking for a job in anywhere, not just outside, even in India, because you have been working in India also. So having LinkedIn profile is must, because recruiters do check candidates' LinkedIn profile and their experience. So guys, please go and check out and update your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that what you are working on and your years of experience is properly updated in the LinkedIn profile, and also make sure that you mention that LinkedIn profile in your resume. Usually cover letter, we don't mention those details. And For more information, we have cover letter and resume video already created. So please go and do watch it, and probably it will help you. That's really useful information, Ria, that you have been given to us. And I'm really grateful that you are here. And going forward, now I also want to ask you, now you are in Spain working here. So what are the culture differences that you are seeing in terms of work in India and in Spain?
Yeah. So culture difference. To be honest, in my previous roles as well, I had global team. So I would interact with a lot of people from different countries. So even in Spain, currently I'm in a very diverse team where one person is from Lithuania, then the another person is from Italy, and then one is from UK. So it's a mixed culture basically. So I do have few members who are Spanish as well. So for me, it's a very good. What I can gather from them is the knowledge that they bring from different perspectives and from different world of hiring they've been. So it's nice in terms of knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge sharing. There's a lot of inputs from what inputs that they share with me, and it just opens up your mind, and it is indeed a very good experience that I've been able to gather so far.
Really great. How are you finding Spain?
Spain, it is indeed a very, very, right now I'm living in Barcelona, so it is cosmopolitan, and it is, I would say in terms of any government, if there's any work related to government or hospitals or those, Spanish language is very important. But again, it's not a deal breaker, because obviously they are very helpful. Spanish people are very, very friendly. So I have not had a challenge in terms of in regular transaction, because even in the shops we kind of, there are mixed people. There are people who would talk in English, and there would be someone who would be talking in Spanish. But you can understand, because all thanks to Google Translator these days, it's nothing as you can break the barriers, you can break the language barrier.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
It's nice, because and also just to add, I'm also learning Spanish just to be able to integrate with the people in Spain. And of course, nobody has asked me. No one has told me to learn Spanish. It's only my choice, because I want to learn a new language. And since Spanish is widely spoken all over the world, so it's worth learning it.
Following up with this question, so the one who is trying to move from India to Germany, or Germany things I have covered in many videos, but specifically to Spain, is that necessary to know language basic, or is that okay if somebody doesn't know anything about Spanish and coming to Spain from India, and in that case people can survive there or not?
People definitely can survive in Spain without knowing Spanish, because I have a couple of friends and colleagues who've lived in Spain for a pretty long time, and they still don't know how to talk in Spanish. Like, they can understand, but they're not very fluent while talking in Spanish. But yes, it's up to you. It's up to your convenience. If you are able to learn a new language, why not? It's just about your interest basically. So of course, knowing Spanish will make things a lot easy in terms of the regular, if you have some government work or some sort of work in terms of renting a place where you need to kind of go through the contracts, which are mainly written in Spanish. But then you would find agents also who would be able to translate that for you. Right. So it's definitely not a must. But yes, knowing it, there's no harm knowing the language, but you can survive without knowing it.
Right. This is really useful. This information is really useful to know that, of course, you can survive, but knowing a little bit about the country where you are going, it's always plus. So try to get a little bit knowledge about the language and just the general thing, like what in day-to-day life, what things are being called. So that would be really useful to people who are moving to other countries. And Yes. So I want to ask these two questions for you, like remote working culture and plus if somebody wants to come to Spain and get the opportunity. So is that easy or is that difficult?
Okay, so remote working opportunities, obviously, in today's market, like post-COVID, things have considerably changed because there are a lot of companies coming up with remote opportunities. So again, it's totally an individual's choice if they want to go for remote work. Some companies have adopted hybrid work culture where you need to kind of visit the office 2 days and work from home 3 days. So there are some companies who've come up with that idea, and currently I'm working in a hybrid work environment. So easy to get a remote opportunity. Obviously, there are a lot of jobs in the market where you can apply, and you can definitely, for technical roles, it's easy, as I mentioned. For non-technical roles, I have good news, is because there are a lot of technical recruiters. I mean, if you're interested in technical recruitment, there are a couple of jobs which are available in the market which are remote. So, which is very good news, because a lot of companies have come up with that idea. So, definitely there are jobs remote, as well as if you are interested in hybrid. It's so totally up to you which one do you choose. For recruiters, of course, the market has grown immense post-COVID, because there are a lot of demand for engineers. So obviously, people are recruiting recruiters for for being able to grow the engineering team. So that's definitely a good news. Yes, there are a couple of roles in Spain for that matter, because also I would like to highlight from since the year 2015, there are a lot of IT sectors which have opened up in Spain. So there has been immense growth in terms of that. So you would it's easier to get a job in Spain these days. Of course, it depends on what sort of experience you have, but even for the ones who are not, they do not have that much experience and they want to work as an intern, the market is quite open. If you're able to speak even English and just not, you don't have to be expert in Spanish, but the market is quite open for them as well.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Ria, this is most asked questions to me, that the people who are actually looking for a job, I will not focus any particular region. Maybe I would say that if UK person is watching this video, for it's this question is for them as well, and plus Germany people and plus Spain. So throughout, if anybody belongs to non-technical background and wants to search a job, so what kind of preparation particularly they have to do, and plus if you would like to give us some tips to prepare, that would be really great.
Sure, Sapna. So I would just say that while I was in the UK, I only had 1.5 year experience when I went there in a human resource and recruitment field. So for me to be able to find a job at that time was very difficult. So what I decided is that I would try and, as I mentioned, it's important to understand the UK market or any other market. For example, if you're moving to Germany or if you're moving to Spain. So what you could do is that you can pick up a sales role, maybe, to understand and interact with the people, with the local people. So as you might be knowing, Swapna, that I worked in the UK, and initially I started my career while I was looking for a job as a sales representative in a retail shop. So for me, it was a big learning experience, because I could interact with a lot of people, and then that leveraged actually for me to be able to find a job within the recruitment field. So that was a good experience for me. So I would definitely advise that don't be rigid, like to all the non-technical people, don't be rigid about your experience that you have back in your home country. Try and do something else as well. Just be open-minded about applying to a role. It's important for you to start from somewhere. So if you're able to find any role, whether it's working in as a sales representative in a retail shop, or even if it is working as a customer care executive, it's important that you at least start with some role, and then you can pursue your dream job, if that makes sense. So that will at least give you an idea, and you will be able to interact with the people. So don't be rigid about your experience. So that's my takeaway.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And as my experience as well, I was initially, when I moved to UK, I was sales representative for a few months, and then when I got to know many things, and because all these applying jobs, getting into the process, it takes time. And in that period, you are doing nothing when you just go as a dependent to other country. So meanwhile, you can try some other experience. I simply went for sales representative job, and I just got it. I was working in a shop, but what I found, I got to know about the local people. I got to know about the language what they're speaking. I got to know about the culture. So anyway, that experience made me really strong enough for the next challenge. For when I came into the production, when I came into the into my field, then I was pretty confident talking with everyone and understanding what they want to say, because the local language is completely different than what we read in the book. So yeah, it is always gonna give you some benefit. So always don't, like Ria said, don't be rigid. Try exploring new things if you have time, and side by side you can keep looking for the jobs. This is particularly for the dependent people, dependent who are coming on the dependent visa. And yeah, there are many opportunity if you want to take, but yeah, keep trying. That's the only thing that we can say. Keep trying, don't be disheartened. There will be many rejections. Ria, I want to say that we get so many rejections, when we apply for the job. What kind of mental status we should keep when we get so many rejections from the recruiters?
It is obviously, having said that, there are a lot of opportunities. There are also a lot of rejections that one has to go through. I would just say that don't get sour with those experiences. It's just a learning curve for you. At least you know what not to do next time. So for non-technical role, I understand sometimes they don't even get a chance to kind of speak to the recruiter. They just get rejected, or just, they have application reject. There are a lot of rejects that they have to face. But then you just have to keep applying. You just have to constantly keep applying. And each day you should apply at least try and apply 10-15 jobs each day, just to be able to crack the interview. So it's important that you don't stop trying. It's all you need to do is to have the right kind of attitude, and that's what will give you your dream job. And with that, nobody can stop you if you have the right attitude.
Exactly. And having said that, we are going to get festival season now, and Christmas is just next door. So do you have something for us?
Definitely, Swapna. So basically, I'm currently working in a lot of roles, that is SRE, then data platform engineer, backend developer, and also I'm working on iOS developer roles. So I would definitely encourage people to go through my LinkedIn profile and apply to those roles. You never know, that's something that you always wanted to do. So I would definitely request all the viewers to, if you have the relevant skill set, please feel free to go through my LinkedIn profile, and you can find the job descriptions on my LinkedIn profile itself.
That's wonderful, and my subscribers are gonna really be happy with that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share your LinkedIn profile with this video description, and people who are watching, please go and visit Ria's profile and find out your relevant job there. Go through with all the details, and we've got like brilliant Christmas gift this year.
And also, to add one more thing, is basically the organization that I work for gives sponsorship. So I would really definitely encourage people from all over the world, feel free to apply to those roles that I've mentioned. And just any questions also, if you have in terms of non-technical roles, I'm also more than happy to kind of speak to you guys on the comment section.
This is too good. You're the best, Ria. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure that you guys who are watching this, we are gonna call Ria very frequent in my channel, because she's my she is HR, but she's my friend as well. And you guys gonna see her more often here. So I'm really happy to call you. And first of all, you found some time for me. this is really great, and I can't be more happy than this. So I'm too happy right now. So this is it. Thank you so much, Ria, for your time. And I'm really happy that you came here and you shared your experience for my subscribers. I'm really sure that everybody is going to get inspired so much from your story, and they're going to try. And of course, you have shown us this path, and they are going to follow all these points that you covered. What else I can say? Do you have anything to say to my subscribers?
Definitely. I would just say like and subscribe to Swapna's channel. What she's doing is incredible, because people would be able to make informed decisions by looking at your channel, and you're the best, Swapna.
Thank you so much, Ria, for your time. And I'm really happy with this session. For all my subscribers, thank you for watching. So it would be really great if you guys could please subscribe my channel, like my videos, and share them. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.